friends. Welcome to Walking with J.Beau, an almost daily walking vlog. I'm going to head off into parts yet unknown. I'll go whatever way I feel like going. I'll go where my feet take me. So today, it's hot, it's muggy. It's going to be muggier tomorrow. Chance of thunderstorms tomorrow. Then the humidity is expected to blow out of town for Thursday. So in the interim, it's going to be hot and muggy. And the reason why that business that I just showed at the beginning of this walk is closed because of heat is they have high school girls that have to take orders from people in the parking lot, which when it's 96 degrees out probably feels like 110 with the heat coming off the asphalt. So they close. We don't want the girls to roast to death, right? So I got my backpack. I got a nice big container of water. I don't know how much selfie view I'll do tonight, but I'll do some. Not sure what to talk about tonight. Might be one of those days. I know I saw a funny clip earlier of Chuck Schumer swearing. It's like the Democrats are trying to show that they're getting tougher. They're going to speak and act tougher with Trump because their voters want them to be tougher, and I guess they equate swearing to being tough. I guess because Trump swears, so they think that's why he's popular. Oh, we've got a police car coming here. Sheriff. Sheriff Department. I'm gonna go sheriffing. I'm gonna sheriff somewhere. So it is about 80 degrees tonight, right now. 78, 80. And 80 degrees feels cool right now compared to earlier today. So the Democrats are stuck. They really are. They really don't know what to do. I can tell you, them swearing every time they're on camera. Beto O'Rourke has been doing that. And you know that's because the Democratic Party must have sent out some kind of memo, because all of the Democrats are swearing now. They do everything all at the same time, like a hive, like a cult. So it's pretty amusing. So we'll be somewhere around 708, 709 miles walked this year so far after tonight. Quite happy with that, even though technically I'm kind of behind last year's pace, because I realize that November and December can pretty much take those off the calendar for walking. So we had a slow start to the year because of the weather. I missed about 300 miles almost, January and February compared to last year. So I think I lost about 200 miles. Last year, for the entire year, I had 1,339 miles from January 1st to December 31st. I'm definitely not going to make that this year. Even though I'm walking as frequently as I did last year, when it is walkable. We had a much colder winter last year, which is really what cost me. The year before, we had a lot of days that were 36, 38. Today, January and February, we had days that were high temperature of 10, 12, low of minus 10, that sort of thing. So it was too cold to walk, so I didn't walk. And when it's too cold to walk in the daytime, it's colder at night. So it's daytime or nothing in the wintertime. A couple of years ago, I stopped walking about 2 weeks into November, and I didn't start back up again until 2 weeks into March. I missed the entire winter. Last year, I squeezed out a few days here and there. I think I walked 8 days. Only 8 days in the whole month of January, I think, according to my app. And about 6 in February. So, and I was walking up until about December 21st. just before Christmas. And then the weather turned south on me, which is normal for Maine. But basically, though, the Democrats don't know what to do right now with Trump. The best argument they're making, which isn't a good one, and the media is actually embarrassing the Democrats for them, by saying, well, Trump's wrong. He's wrong about the crime in D.C. So if you want to argue about specific numbers, yeah, you can find cities that have more crime. But Washington, D.C. is the nation's capital, and it's in the top 10. And it's the easiest one for Trump to set an example for other cities to get their crap together, because he has the easiest authority over it, because it's federal. It's not a state. So people that live in DC have been polled since Trump's been doing this. 60% of the people that live there say that living in the city is very dangerous. Another 30% say that it is unacceptable. There's too much crime here. So they could not find anything positive. So basically what they're saying is, yeah, there's other cities with more crime, but this one just has less crime, so it's okay. That's never a winning argument for anything. Well, only 2 women got raped instead of the 10 in Los Angeles, so, you know, big deal, right? The problem the Democrats have is Trump's doing it. Doesn't matter what Trump says, doesn't matter what he does, they gotta go against it. Automatic reaction. And that's why they're losing. Because common sense has gone out the window. Democrats should say, yeah, there's a crime problem here. I don't like the way Trump's doing this. Why don't we sit down with Republicans and work something out? Since the only way you could change the laws in D.C. is with Congress, because it's not a state. And I got a feeling Congress is going to do just that. A lot of people were thinking that at the end of August, Trump will pull what he's doing out of D.C. because he's made his point. And I'm like, no, he can't, because nothing's going to change until Congress comes back in September. Then they're going to have to put something together to vote on. Democrats are going to be pro-crime. They're not going to support it just because Trump wants it, even though the people in D.C. are going to be happy that the crime is being cleaned up. So this is another instance where the Democrats are going to look like idiots, and they're going to wonder why people don't want to vote for them. They're pro-crime all the time. I mean, can you imagine being that stupid and having a stick that far up your keister about somebody like Trump, that no matter what he does, you have to go against it? Even if you agree with him, you have to go against him, or else the people in your party will be mad at you and you'll be disowned. That is how weak that party is. And they're destroying themselves. It's a beautiful thing to watch. Trump has destroyed the media. He's destroyed the Democrats. He's destroyed everything. I love it. So, the other news is CBS News today had to report on General Electric. General Electric has announced $3 billion investment in the United States. They're going to build 5 factories in 5 states, which I noticed coincidentally were red states for the most part, because companies don't want to build in a blue state. They get taxed too much. So, General Electric is going to build a plant that manufactures refrigerators, another one that builds air conditioning, another one that builds washing machines, etc., so on. I don't know how many of the parts are going to be made here, because we don't make parts anymore, but they will be made and assembled here, and it's 1,000 new jobs. So that is a very big deal that the media is egg on their face, because Trump was supposed to destroy the economy. Tariffs were supposed to cause inflation, unemployment, stock market was supposed to crash, and none of that is happening. So now they're going to talk about Epstein. Now Schumer, after he swore today and said on Trump's thing with DC, and he said, well, Congress is going to have to change things, and he goes, I think there are Republicans that ain't going to vote for it. Yeah, well, I don't believe that for 2 seconds, Chuck. Don't believe that for 2 seconds. So he swore, and he thought he was being all tough and badass. And it didn't impress anybody. Even Democrat voters were like, you know, why is this people swearing all the time? We want to see some action. We want to see them do something. Gavin Newsom, on the other hand, it's like, hold my beer. So he gave Trump a big ultimatum in all caps. You're going to stop redistricting red states, or California is going to retaliate, and you're going to be sorry you ever went up this road. Well, go ahead, California. You've already gerrymandered all your districts. There's hardly any Republicans coming out of California, and when they do, they're not really conservative. So have fun, I guess. Problem with California is it has to be a ballot initiative. So the governor has to put it in motion. The legislature has to okay it. Then it has to be put forth on a ballot to be voted for in November. And November is coming up quick. And there's no guarantee it'll pass. And even if it does, they still have to gerrymander. Something that they've already gerrymandered to death. There's a process to do it. So, good luck with that. In the meantime, the Republicans in Texas have passed the legislation they needed to pass to add 5 more congressional seats for Republicans. So that passed. Democrats said they were going to be coming back to Texas, and now they've changed their mind on the last news report I saw, which I haven't been able to verify if it's true or not, because it was on raw news alerts. So I don't know how that's going to shake loose as factual or not. And that was reported about an hour and a half ago, where the Democrats have changed their mind and said they're not coming back to Texas. So I think they want to call Texas's bluff on removing them from their seats. I guess they think the governor's not going to do it. And I think he's going to. So the Democrats, as a just in case, didn't pull all their Democrats, only enough to make sure they couldn't make quorum. But some of them came back and they made quorum, I believe, because they did pass that. So if I'm wrong on that, forgive me. All I know is Texas did pass that. And there's going to be 5 more seats. And it was the Texas Senate, I believe. I voted for that. So there's a lot of stuff going on there. The American public really doesn't want to see a gerrymandering war. And all experts that I've seen, including AI chat things, as they're digging up the ground here next to the oiving. We should get 309 gas over here. There's obviously something's going to get built here. There's something way in the back as well. So we'll have to see what this is going to be. There's no signs. I guess we'll have to wait and see. We'll have to ponder. I do know that I got to put my LCD screen on for me to look at when I do a selfie. So I'm going to stop this and turn the camera around. All right. All right. I'll get this all fixed now. And I got a good sweat going already. I'll definitely be drinking some of the water I brought. Only bring about a quart. About all I need, I guess. My carbs I had before my walk was plenty of rice. It burns off very quickly, but it's good carbohydrate for walking. So is the carbs from pasta, by the way. But the rice one is better for me because of gluten. Rice is gluten-free. So we're going to turn the camera around. Hey everybody. Hi y'all. Yes, this is my Gizmonics Institute MST3K t-shirt. So we've got 1.5 miles. I think that's what they just said. Oh, it only felt like a mile. It's 1.5 miles already. Well, how about that? We'll be having dusk shortly, and right now it looks brighter than it is because I have my ISO set for 1600, which makes it brighter than the human eye. You'll notice on my night walks, on dark scenes, you'll see kind of like a blue speckled kind of visual noise. That is an acceptable setting that I put on there. I can make it darker to get rid of that, but then the picture is too dark. So it's a happy compromise when it does get dark, which will be shortly. So anyways, like I was saying, this is a crazy time to be alive, man, politically. It's nuts. Got a lot of people getting upset, very upset at a lot of things. A lot of people are angry. places I need to cross. I got to be on this side of the street. So when you got to be on one side of the street, you cross. Criss-cross. Just like the Alfred Hitchcock movie. So a lot of people are going out of their minds. They hate Donald Trump. I saw a guy on a video podcast called Two Way with Mark Halpern. Mark Halpern is interesting to watch because he likes Trump, he likes the Republicans, but he's also non-biased in his coverage on his show. And he had what he does is, what's interesting to me is they have people on his show that are Democrats, voters. And they had a young man on there earlier, looked like he was about, I don't know, 26, 27. He's talking about how he voted for Kamala and said, I'm glad she didn't win. And he was asked why, and he said that he did not know the stuff that was going on behind the scenes that came out after the election about Kamala Harris. How Kamala Harris and people were covering for Joe Biden's decline. This is one of those younger people that watched the media and had no idea about anything. But he said he would not vote for Kamala Harris today. He also said he wouldn't vote for Trump either. He didn't vote for Trump the first time, obviously. And he said it's because Trump is an authoritarian Hitler. He's breaking the law. So this guy is still watching the media, hasn't learned his lesson. So it's just kind of interesting to get that perspective from people. And I like Mark Halpern because he has a lot of independents on his show who are true moderates. They're not full-blown conservative. They don't support everything Trump does. But they're pretty happy with what he's doing right now. And the one thing I saw in common from all of the people that he had on today is nobody cares about the Epstein thing. So that's like moved on its course. There's so many things more important than that right now, and voters are somewhere else. They want people that committed crimes held accountable, but at the same time they understand the only reason why that's in the news right now is because some Republicans went against Trump on it and wanted transparency. So since nothing else the Democrats does makes any kind of dent against Trump or Republicans at all, they got on board with the Epstein thing. And even Chuck Schumer today, now this Epstein thing is going to be a big deal, he said, because we're going to see testimony in September or October. People subpoenaed are going to have to testify. So, which is true, but I got a feeling Bill Clinton's not going to show up. Hillary Clinton's not going to show up. Now, the Department of Justice under Biden locked up Steve Bannon and locked up Peter Navarro for refusing to testify in front of Congress. Hunter Biden, if you remember, was subpoenaed, and he said he wasn't going to show up, and then he showed up late with his attorneys, and he sat in the spectator box and never testified. Where supposedly walking through the front door, the way the subpoena was worded, was technically he showed up. He just didn't testify. He stayed for about an hour and then he left. That way, legally, he could say he showed up. So, when you get subpoenaed to testify before Congress, it's a big deal. Most of the time, when a prominent name doesn't show up, they never get charged. But now we're going to see if Pam Bondi, excuse the pun because she's a female, if Pam Bondi has the gonads to prosecute Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton if they refuse to testify. Now, Hillary Clinton knows the gravity of it. She's an expert in, oh, I don't know if you remember. I don't recall. I don't recall. I don't remember clearly. I don't recall. That's another way of taking the fifth. Because you swear an oath to answer the questions the best of your ability. And you can't say yes or no if you don't recall. So, I got a feeling we're going to get a lot of that. I think Bill Clinton's not going to show up. And I don't think Hillary Clinton's going to show up either. Because this is going to be about the Epstein thing. Bill Clinton has been there 28 times, despite the media saying he hasn't. He has. It's in publicly released information and flight logs. So he's been there plenty of times. Hillary Clinton has gone there as well. We don't know why she went, but she did. It's all speculation. I can't spread misinformation. But there's been a suspicion about Hillary Clinton for a long time that she likes goils. Okay? Goils. G-O-I-L-S. So, of course, that's just speculation. I'm not saying anything as any kind of fact whatsoever. We're just speculating, okay? Now, Billy Bob has never been convicted of sexual assault. He's been accused of it quite a bit, and even paid off Jennifer Flowers. Remember her? Jennifer Flowers said that he raped her. She filed a civil suit against him. And she was paid a nice dividend check to call it a day. So there's a history there. Of course, we got Juanita Broderick as another one. Oh, by the way, she has a book called You Better Put Some Ice on That. Because that's what he said to her after he raped her and smacked her around a bit. She had bruises and said, you better put some ice on that. As he zipped up his pants, buckled his belt, and left. That happened when he was governor, before he was elected president. So, and at this point, has not been disputed, but it's also not been proven. So, it's just her word against his. So we'll see if these people show up. We'll see if Ghislaine Maxwell testifies. That's what I want to see, because she's going to swear under oath Trump had nothing to do with anything. Now, that's not to say Trump was an angel. Legally, he was a playboy. He liked the ladies, and he made his rounds. But if it's legal, I really don't care. I don't even care if he engaged in prostitution at this point, if it was legal. So anyway, that's the kind of stuff we got going on right now. Pretty interesting. It's going to be an interesting September. Or if you're in Maine, a September. Yeah. So part of my walk this evening is so I'm watching some people shoot baskets at the school. Some kids. Lewiston High School over here. That's where I went to school in high school. Part of the neighborhood I'm going to walk through is, well, kind of unsavory, but it's not late at night, and plus we have precautions I hope to never have to use. You know, it's one thing to carry a firearm, it's another thing to be braggadocious about it. I carry a firearm. And then somebody says something dumb like, I wouldn't hesitate 2 seconds, these damn punks. And I mean, talking like that gets you sent to jail, you know? And it's kind of a dumb way to be anyway. Should always try to avoid any conflict. That's why I use my tried and true method. Somebody's walking by, you say, hey, how's it going? Or hi. The worst thing they could do is ignore you and not answer back, because that's not normal. That means they're upset about something, got something on their mind, and you don't know what that is. It could be after you walk by them, they turn around and hit you in the back of the head with a brick or something. Get robbed, whatever. And I also have to watch out what I'm listening to, because I'm walking with a selfie stick with a camera on it, and one of these 16-year-old punks and gangs around here could come running right along or on a bike, just snatch it out of my hand while they drive by. I wouldn't be able to do anything about it, would I? So I'm going to turn the camera around, and we're going to walk on down. We've got a homeless person here on a bench, it looks like, unfortunately. If they're not homeless, I apologize. They do look homeless. It's really hot and muggy, and he's got a blanket. So we'll say hi to him, catch the vibe, see what he says. He's just gonna sleep. His eyes were closed. He's catching a nap. Hate to see that. He's got a veteran's hat on too. I think that's what that was. Or a hunter's cap. Got a beard. Looks like a nice guy. It really sucks. It's unfortunate. So I'm going to cross over here. Now this is a way we used to walk up when Zayres used to be here to buy Star Wars figures. This is that place I mentioned in a past video. We're on the other side of it. Of course, this is all different than it used to be. There never used to be an entrance to the school there. Even when I went there, it's probably done 15 years ago, maybe 20. I'll do like Hillary Clinton. I don't recall. Could be 10 years, could be 30. I don't recall. Well, I'd know if it was 30. It wasn't. That's going to be some interesting stuff, my friends, to watch when that goes down. So we're going to be walking on Bartlett Hill, which Thankfully, I'll be going down the hill. And this house is still here with the P on the chimney for pooling. Used to be for pooling. Probably not anymore. They just left the P on the chimney. That P has been on that chimney since I was young. So now I just hit 2.5 miles. One of my grandmothers used to have a house on one of these streets. I don't remember which one. Everything's changed now. I wouldn't know it if I saw it, to be honest with you. She had a big cast iron stove in her kitchen. She also had a fruit cellar. The trap door in the kitchen, like you used to see in the old days. She used to jar jams and fruits. My brother Jim and I used to play in the backyard digging in the dirt with spoons. Yep, go ahead. You're in a hurry to go. I get it. Yep, it's humid, folks. So this is a very steep hill. Not only did we used to walk up this hill, we used to ride our damn bikes up this hill that you can't change speeds on. That's how friggin' in shape and cool we used to be. Hey, how you doing? That guy looked a little timid at first, but he answered back. Looked like he didn't want to. He saw me filming, I think. That's another thing some people are funny about. Need to keep that in mind. I got the LCD screen on now because when I do a selfie, I like to see what I'm looking at. Make sure I'm in frame and stuff. Actually, while I think of it, I should switch over to the night. It's getting dark. I'll switch over to night and I'll turn the LCD stuff off and the LEDs because the neighborhood I'll be walking partially through. I don't want to get a snatch and grab. All right, and just like magic, we've switched to night mode. So now I got the LEDs off and I have the front screen off. So it looks like I'm holding something. I'm not going to do the selfie view through here. I'll just film or record what I'm doing while I'm walking through until we get out of this neighborhood. And yes, this neighborhood can be that bad. We're going to be walking by a mosque. Also going to be walking by a playground and parking lot outside that about 15 people were shooting at each other with guns last year. It does have a police station in the neighborhood that's actually in an apartment building. And wasn't that nice? The city made them a soccer field here. That's, good, I guess, but I used to be with Hudson Bus Line. Used to be the Hudson Bus Line when the city had city buses. There were Hudson buses in the 50s and 60s. Bus depot was down here, and then it turned into a bus depot for school. And it had all school buses, which now I don't know where they keep the school buses. But I'm going to cut across, try to avoid any cultural enrichment entanglements. Isn't that terrible? Grew up around here. Never thought I'd be back here someday, and I got to be careful walking through here. I'm going to walk by a garage. I don't even know if it's still there. It used to be called Spofford's. Spofford's. And there used to be a shop across the street where I would buy hockey equipment. I don't think that's there anymore either. I think this is all migrant run down here. We still have MAHA's best sausage here. They make really good crotons. If you're Franco-American, you know what a croton sandwich is. Basically a pork spread. Heart attack on a sandwich. Made with pork fat and ground pork, spices and stuff. It's actually very good. I used to like it with tomato soup. Tomato and rice soup and dip the sandwiches. So this is the parking lot we're going by here that there was a shootout in. It's on this side. Youth gangs, youth gangs. So, used to be Franco-American neighborhood. And now it's an international neighborhood. Italian bakery. Well, these guys sure do like their cologne. Italian bakery is still there. Thanks. Italian bakery is still there. Look at that. Alright, well, this guy is got a knee brace. Oh, he wasn't friendly. Seeing very much friendly in this neighborhood so far. I'm going to be turning up ahead anyway. I'm not going to walk all the way down Bartlett Street. That's where most of the shootings happen. That is a Mazda RX-7 that looks like a Porsche. That was the knock on those. Auto sales. Spofford's building is still there. It's not Spofford's anymore. This building burned once and they renovated it. Electric electric scooter that lights up. It's kind of cool. A couple people on the corner there. I'm getting nervous. Yep, certainly don't belong here anymore, thank God. This street right here, I lived on that street for 5 years. Years ago, it was a different place. Now I would have bars on the windows. This is the slum area of Lewiston. And right up here we get the Civic Center, now owned by the city, where I have seen many concerts. It's just really funny. You'd come here and see Pantera, Primus, Fear Factory, Typo Negative, Meshuggah, saw Rob Zombie here, saw White Zombie here. And now they don't have any concerts since the city bought it. So that sucks. We're going to cross the street over this way. And when I get up over this hill, I'll put the LCD screen back on. This used to be a paint shop, paint store. I forgot what it was called. Polar Paints? I think it was Polar Paints. That's where a guy I used to be friends with, named Walter, I won't say his last name, but him and a friend of his robbed somebody, and they ended up killing the guy by accident, and they ditched him behind this building over here in the snow. They buried him in the snow, and then of course in the spring the guy thawed out and somebody found him, and he was found guilty, and he's still in Thomaston, life in prison. And this was a long time ago, and he wasn't very bright. And when we were teenagers, oh, we got this little kid here on a bike. Jeez, where's the parents? Why is this little kid all by himself, you know? So anyway, when we were teenagers, 14 or 15, Walter had asked me to break into a grocery store with him and a friend. And of course I said no, because I didn't do those things. And they got caught. They got caught because they decided to have fun smashing beers inside. A really stupid teen thing to do. And he got sent to juvie. And then he graduated to robbing people and killing them by accident. What an idiot. Hello. All right, some cultural enrichment. Thank you, Joe Biden. Oh my God. Whew. Somebody driving with their headlights out. Yep, I'm just gonna drive with no lights. Who cares? He was a migrant. I saw him. I told you, they're the worst friggin' drivers. They came here and they have no experience driving because they didn't have cars. Some of them come here from dirt pathways, they don't even have roads. And the roads they have, we're in the desert with no pavement. Keep your head on a swivel crossing the street here. And my brother Louis used to help JP with the Zamboni stuff when he was a teenager. Working over here. He was also a stick boy for one of the teams, the Maine Nordiques. So you don't see this when you're watching this, but when I walk by somebody in this neighborhood, I take a quick look to the side, use my peripheral to make sure somebody's not behind me. I am wearing a backpack too, even though they would only get a backpack and a bag of water, a bottle of water I mean. So I just wanted to come down here because this is where I grew up in these parts, partly. Used to come down here and hit baseballs on this ball field, which this ball field wasn't there, it was a soccer field. And this ball field was actually in this corner. And they moved it over there. So it's a good place to hit baseballs. So I'm going to cross over here. Nighttime is setting in. I will say these migrants come down here and they all use this park with their kids. And this is the problem we have. Every single one of these families have 9 kids, 8 kids, and white people are lucky to have 1, maybe 2. Simple math should tell you that that 8 or 9 is going to multiply by a lot in the future. And that's what Europe has in store for itself, because they were stupid people who they're only just waking up to it. And you have the Prime Minister Starmer of the UK, a liberal, one of the people responsible for it, talking about how migration is out of control. We need to do something about it. He didn't say what. People want deportations. But I'm sure the liberals there have rules protecting them, like they try to do here. I think I saw Starmer the other day, and he was talking about their culture, how the culture doesn't mix, and he was saying a lot of these people don't want to assimilate, they don't want to become Brits, and it's like, duh, what the hell you think we were telling you for 10 years, 15 years, dummy? So these people are incredibly stupid, which I don't believe, or they're incompetent. They thought it was politically expedient at the time. They were going to import all these people that would end up voting for them because they gave them free benefits. Now in the United States, and you'll notice something very interesting here. Everybody in this neighborhood now didn't do this when I was a kid. This is like the 3rd house we pass now where they have their floodlights on their property so they don't get broken into and robbed. It's not a light on a sensor, it's a light that's on all the time. There's another one over here. Now, we never used to see this. I used to go ride my bike all through here many times as a teenager. Nobody had their lights on. This person's got a security system. He has his lights off. And this person's got their lights on, and it's just something you have to do here, I guess. So this tells you this is not a good neighborhood, despite it used to be a good neighborhood. Pretty sad, really. Now we've gone on a couple of walks through here where up ahead here there's a whole bunch of migrant newcomers, whatever the semi-polite word is. I can tell you one thing, nationally, there's too many at this point to deport everybody. That much is obvious. And just take a walk around a town like this. This is, 38,000 people here. Same thing in Auburn, across the river. And the same thing in Portland. Same thing nationally. It's everywhere, every state. The official numbers is supposedly 10 or 11 million. I think I'm going to side with President Trump when he said there's probably 20 to 24 million that came across. Nobody really knows. Undocumented. The whole country's got 363 million. So that's a pretty high percentage in a short amount of time. Now picture being in Europe or the UK, where they have had, look up the population of Germany, and they've had 1.5 million migrants, I think, somewhere around there. That is a huge percentage increase, and there's a whole bunch of problems that came from it. Criminal problems, nut job problems, terrorist problems, rapist problems. And yeah, there are some good citizens who are not citizens, who want to be, and they're good people. They didn't come here the right way. I don't know what else to tell you about that. Doesn't matter if you've been here for 20 years. I mean, you didn't come here the right way. That's why it wasn't a good decision to do that, because someday you might get deported. So, I was hoping for trash night on this walk. Not tonight. That's all right. So anyway, geez, you got a big problem at this point. And I do have part of me that somebody's been here 20, 30 years, and they speak really good English. And but technically they haven't been a responsible citizen because they don't have to pay taxes. They don't do their taxes. They're not citizens. And, there's a legitimate beef. Somebody comes here and they have to pay a certain percentage of their pay in taxes and Medicare and Social Security and other benefits that illegals are getting. So people have a right to be upset footing the bill for that. So there's an argument on every side, which is why it's a touchy issue. But when you see somebody that comes here drunk driving because they don't really care in the country they come from, and they drive into a woman with 2 kids and they kill these kids' parents, like just happened a couple weeks ago in Illinois, you can't be having that. I'll tell you right now, that person's going to get deported. And you're going to see a lot more going on and happening over the next year, because the one big beautiful bill is hiring thousands of ICE agents. And it takes a while to train them, but they will be trained and they will be doing their job. And I saw an encouraging report today already. There is a Democrat strategist forget the guy's name, but he works for the DNC. And he said he didn't want to admit it, but Democrats are going to have their work cut out for them if they want to win midterms. Because right now, Republicans are getting things done. Quote unquote. And Democrats aren't doing anything except obstructing, delay, causing problems, swearing on TV. It's not a good look. So, this is all good news, my friends. The dam is starting to crack. Democrats know they're in trouble, and they're going to get more desperate, and they're going to do more stupid things. They think doubling down on something and doing it worse after the second time is the way to do things. It's not. Out of that neighborhood. I'm going to leave the LED off, LCD off. I can see the lens right here, so plus I'll just look straight ahead. And I know with this super view angle I should be in picture, so we'll just do it this way. Well, that was interesting. Now we've walked through that neighborhood before during the daytime in the afternoon, and it was actually I think it was around noontime, 1 o'clock. A lot of those punks in that neighborhood stay up all night, and then they go to bed in the morning while it's light out. So dairy joy. I don't have my wallet with me. Damn it. I would have got a crunch coat ice cream had I known I would be coming this way. So anyways, my friends, we always find something to talk about, don't we? Got a couple more miles to walk. I get sweat dripping down my neck. Crazy times, my friends. Crazy times. Happy to report my ankle feels just about normal tonight. I've been taking it easy and doing some stretches the past couple 3 days, even though we've been walking. And I've noticed that happens. You know, sometimes I start getting some wear and tear aches and pains, probably age related mostly, but I just work my way through it. My body heals up, and I've always used to be bothered with something. Even when I was younger, I'd go play ice hockey a lot, and I'd end up having to wear a wrist brace because the tendon in my left hand would flare up, and it would be very painful. But wear a brace, take it easy for a week or so, and you know, it'll start feeling better. So this is like the 3rd or 4th day now, and I've been walking 5 miles at least a day, and it's still healing up and feeling okay tonight. going to turn the camera around now. I just wanted to put it on for a couple minutes. There we go. We'll walk down this way. Hi. Busted window here. Car with no muffler. Like I didn't need to describe that. And we also had that woman that had a nice body. She had not a tooth in her face. She was a gummer. That girl was a gummer from way back. That's terrible. God, please forgive me. I smell coffee. Must be from the oiving. Gas and coffee. They got a drive-through. I learned about the importance of a drive-through in college. In my classes on economics and business. Businesses make much more money with a drive-through than they do with their restaurant. They also have less overhead. You got one person, sometimes two, taking the orders. Then the people inside prepare them. You don't have to set any tables. You don't have to do any of that stuff. You don't need waitresses. That's why I'm surprised Cumberland Farms has not had a drive-through yet, because most of these newer places that have coffee have drive-throughs. Even the cafes. There's a coffee shop. That's down this way on that block. We walked this way. We walked right by it, but it was across the street. You've seen it before. They have a walk-up window where people walking by can go order a coffee. They don't have to go in. And they also have a drive-through. And they don't have any entrance for customers to go in. It's just strictly a drive-through coffee place or walk up to the window. Ooh, my face is drenched. See? It's hot. It's muggy. Having a good workout. Oh, did I do something stupid and not restart my walk? I think I did. Nope, it's going. I got it. Coming up on 4.5 miles. So this walk worked out just about right because I wanted to do about 6 miles tonight, somewhere thereabouts. As long as I get my 5 minimum, I'm good. But it's nice to see that 6 turnover for my stats for the whole year. It adds a complete mile instead of 8/10 or 7/10 or whatever. Or what have you. You know, somebody was saying, left a comment, said you should be doing AM radio, discussion and talk, and I'm like, You know, it's a good idea. You know, I did radio programming and radio on-air DJ stuff for 23 years. Had people like Spine Shank. I don't know if you remember that band. They were touring with Slayer, and they played here in town. Slayer played, and this was one of the opening bands. Interviewed them on the air, and you know, had a lot of fun like that. I've done a lot of radio interviews. I have interviewed Jack Black, the liberal asshole, before he was a liberal asshole. I interviewed KK Downing and Judas Priest, Glenn Danzig, Blackie Lawless, the German Schmier, the singer and guitar player for the German band Destruction. A whole bunch of them. I got a lot of them recorded on digital disc, not CDs, but for a while mini discs were pretty popular. These little small little discs, they were popular in Europe, and you could record on them with a portable recording device, which is what I used when I interviewed Meshuggah when they were opening for Tool on their tour bus. That was in Augusta, Maine. It was raining like you would not believe that night. I got soaked. My comped tickets were lost somewhere. My backstage pass credentials got lost. So I had to contact the promotion company. Finally got the manager, the tour manager, and he hooked me up with what I needed. So I got my interview, and so that was a lot of fun. And then we had some that didn't work out. Hi.
Hello.
So we had an interview set up with Rob Zombie in Portland, and he didn't feel like doing them. He just came off the tour bus, walked right by us, didn't say hi or nothing. So I don't know what that was all about. There was another one. I was supposed to do Rob Halford when he was touring with Halford. They were opening for Iron Maiden. Saw the concert, but was supposed to interview Rob Halford. That didn't work out either. And I don't talk about a lot of that stuff on my walks because, well, I have in the past, but it's, you know, it gets redundant. I guess I could whip out a couple stories here and there once in a while. Like Cold Chamber. We had Cold Chamber in studio, and one of the female DJs wanted one of them to autograph her chest, so she took her shirt right off in the studio. That was Ann. I won't say her last name. I thought that was funny. So it's always something interesting to see at concerts. One concert I went to, women are very competitive, I noticed. So you'd have one woman up on some guy's shoulders with his head between her legs there. She's sitting on his shoulders. And then you'd have another woman way across the place doing the same thing. And for some reason, and this has happened several times, it's like a thing, I guess, at metal shows, where two women will start having, they'll lift their shirt to get applause from the crowd while the house lights are on so everybody can see. So one girl will lift up her shirt, get some applause. Then the other one has to lift up her shirt, and they're trying to get more applause than the other one. There we go. I had to put in a new battery. Just I couldn't take all the boob talk. Boobs will do that to fellas. So anyway, I've had a lot of fun like that. But anyway, the point of what I'm talking about was this person left a comment saying I should be doing AM political talk radio. And I'm like, I thought about that, and I was like, you know, radio has been dead for quite a few years now. Now it's all podcasting. It started out with audio podcasting, and now it's video podcasting, streaming on the internet. That's where everything is. That's the future. That's what I should be doing if I'm going to do that. Start my own thing. And so that's something I've talked about on my walks before also, saying that I should do that, and I just never get it done. So, but you know, I got the YouTube channel. I can make a separate YouTube channel just for politics, and I can also do Rumble, and I can say what I want there. I want to talk about, you know, vaccines and things like that in a way that YouTube would not care to have. So, well, that guy was walking like he's mad. He didn't reply to me. Short, round little mother bleeper. That's why I say hi to people. You get feedback right away. That guy was a schmuck. So anyway, online, that's the best way to do it with podcasting. You can do Zoom interviews with people. You can pipe them in and do a split screen. So makes things a lot easier. And so anyway, sometimes I'll get asked what the worst interview I did was. Easily, hands down, Blackie Lawless a Wasp. That guy was an asshole. This guy comes out with a record, okay? He's trying to promote it. Get it, I get it, okay? What they do is they sit there for 8 to 10 hours a day doing these things, and he was sick of doing it. So he talked with me about 5 minutes, and he was like, well, I gotta go, bye, and then he hung up. So either he thought I was boring, or I didn't ask him what he wanted to be asked, or he just didn't feel like talking. Whatever the case was, left a bad taste in my mouth, and I really don't like him very much. Glenn Danzig, on the other hand, was awesome. Awesome! Really genuinely nice guy. And he's very short, I noticed. He's a very short person. He's like 5'6", 5'5", something like that. You see him in music videos, he's all muscular, and you know, you're expecting some guy 6 feet tall or something. Nope. A little shrimp. Well built, but he's a shrimp. The other disappointment was I was supposed to interview Maynard of Tool with his project band, A Perfect Circle. And manager came out, he doesn't feel like doing interviews tonight. Sorry, guys. Okay. You know, he's already made money. He doesn't need to promote anything if he doesn't feel like doing it. So, but now nobody comes here, so say la vie. KK Downing, a Judas Priest interview that was done via telephone, and he was calling me from Mexico City in Mexico. They were playing with Megadeth at the time. I thought that was cool. he was a really nice guy, and I spent the whole interview talking about guitars and what he has for guitars, and he was talking about one of his most famous ones that you've seen in videos. It's kind of a candy apple red Hamer Flying V, and it's got all these metal studs on it, and I wanted to know about those. So he goes, oh yeah, oh, he goes, that's great. He's telling me about that. He's, yeah, I went to this hardware store and I bought these upholstery tacks, he said. So those are just upholstery tacks that he banged in himself. Absolutely nothing fancy. He said that you can't really tell in the videos, but he actually ruined the finish on it around those. It chipped the finish off, but that's been one of his favorite guitars for a long time. So I thought that was interesting. The other interesting tidbit that he told me was that video for Turbo with Judas Priest. You know, he said they got some guff for that album Turbo because it sounded synth almost, and modern, and it was away from their traditional heavy metal. It did well for them, but he said he got a lot of guff in the video because he had his hair kind of like permed, blonde, poofy, and he was wearing sunglasses. He said he absolutely hated how he looked in the video, and he said the reason why he was wearing the sunglasses is because he had been running across the stage at a show a couple nights before, and he ran into Glenn Tipton's headstock on his guitar, and it gave him a black eye and it cut his eye open. So he wore those sunglasses when they did the video shoot to hide the injury he had. So he said he had makeup on there, it was swollen up, it just wasn't working, so he just put sunglasses on because they're there to shoot the video. So, you know, they can't reschedule and come back. So I thought that was an interesting story. So that's what happened with that. He said his eye was like black, green, and constantly had watering eyes. So that was kind of cool. We talked about amplifiers, what he likes to play through live, and he said it was kind of cool because he usually doesn't get asked those questions. He gets asked the same old questions about when they formed and what it's like playing with these other bands, and you know, these guys have answered those same questions over and over again for 30 years, 20 years, whatever it was. So he actually had fun. We actually talked 45 minutes longer than the scheduled hour. So he must have had a good time, I guess. So anyway, so I was trying to tell you on my walks, you never know what you're going to talk about, and you should get out and walk because you never know what you're going to see and talk about. A lot of things pop in your head that you might not have thought about for years. Tonight was Spofford's shop and the hockey shop that was across the street, which was Poulin's Bicycle. So anyways, we'll keep on walking up ahead. Definitely getting a good workout tonight. Whew. Sweating to the oldies tonight. Da, 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 da. Saw some headlights there from somewhere. I got sweat dripping off my elbows again, holding the selfie stick. It's like a workout within a workout. Yeah, and the other cool thing about doing these interviews is I have a lot of radio stops, radio spots, you know what I mean? Danzig ones were cool. Got a couple of Alice Cooper ones too. It's pretty cool when you get these people to do a promo for your show. And I got them all recorded and I have them on discs. They're in the attic. I should dig them out sometime. They're all audio, obviously. But I should dig those out sometimes. They all have the radio call sign and the name of the show. And they mention me, the DJ. And those are the ones I like. So anyways, I haven't really thought about that for a long time because it's been a while since I've done that, and you know, I still love heavy metal and hard rock, play that on guitar, still listen to it on vinyl, CDs also. One of my favorite thrash metal albums from 1989. It's by a band called Coroner. European, German, I believe. And the name of the album is No More Color. It's one of my favorite thrash guitar albums ever. And the other one is Annihilator with Jeff Waters from Canada. He was a fun interview. He's a good guy. And but that album, Alice in Hell, is one of my all-time favorites. A really great guitar album. And I got one of their newer albums from 2014, I think. Still good stuff. So then there was a guitar player for Judas Priest, a newer guy. I can't even think of his name right now, but he was an arrogant little prick. Oh my God. This guy thought the whole world was about him because he could play guitar, and he had an attitude and he was arrogant. And he had some humble pie recently, 2 years ago. Now, he's in his 30s, okay? He had a stroke. So I'm not gonna say the V word, the flibbity gibbet, okay? The flibbity gibbet, flibbity gibbet. But he had a stroke, and he's partially paralyzed, and it affected his guitar playing. He had to get rehab, therapy, learn how to play again. So he had some humble pie. Humble pie is where something can happen and humble you very quickly. So I'm sure he appreciates being able to play now more than he did before, I guess is my point. And so he was getting guitar endorsements, had his own line of Epiphone guitars, making a name for himself. And you know, I don't remember his name. I really don't. Sorry, I always thought he was a jerk, and I just put it on the back burner because he is a jerk. But anyway, another guy that was kind of iffy, to be honest with you, was Zakk Wylde, Ozzy's guitar player. Now, this was before I was doing radio, but my older brother worked in a music store, and it was Music Works in Auburn. And Zakk Wylde was going to do a guitar clinic. A guitar clinic is where a famous guitar player is paid a sum of money to show up and talk about guitars or whatever, and he ended up just playing songs and performing, didn't really talk about anything. And so he needed an amplifier. The store at the time did not have a half stack, if you could believe that. So I had my PV VTM 120, vacuum tube modified PV head with a 412 cabinet. So they ended up using my amplifier. which was kind of cool. Actually had Zakk Wylde's sign. Had these little dip switches in there for the different modified, you could change the compression of the amp and sustain and all that with these little switches. You put something in there and click it, and it looked like an EQ. It was like a 5-band. It's just dip switches. You can put 2 on, take 1 off, different mid-ranges. So it's what famous people used to do to modify their amps. So we brought my amp over there, and Zakk Wylde played his guitar clinic with my amp. He put a 12-pack of beer on top, which sweat and water got inside my amp, didn't damage anything. And while he was playing, he spit up in the air on the ceiling, and it's pretty unprofessional, to be honest with you. And I remember standing there, somebody came up and said something in his ear, and he took this big roll of hundreds out of his pocket, peeled off a couple and gave it to him. So he was walking around like a big shit. I play guitar for Ozzy, and you know, he's made all kinds of money now. He has his own guitar company, Wild Guitars, and so I didn't particularly think he was a nice guy. He just wasn't, and he was an alcoholic, still is, I think, and he's got a drinking problem. So he's going to be another sad story in the rock scene, mark my words. Wow, I'm soaked with sweat. I'm glistening. So anyways, my friends, click like and subscribe. Hope you liked my stories I told. Anyway, he played, and I just thought it was interesting that I met him. And sometimes you're probably better off not to meet the people that you actually like what they do. I like his music and his guitar playing, but I didn't like him. So I guess that's the moral of that story. So anyway, my friends, we'll see you on the next walk. Click like and subscribe. Say a prayer for Trump and the country. Talked about a lot of stuff tonight that I have not talked about in a long time. A couple things I've not talked about in years. So I hope you found that interesting. And I absolutely need a shower right now and something to eat. And there's no wind at all. Very muggy. So we'll see you soon, everybody. Peace out. God bless. Bye-bye. Stay safe.